that spilled over to your time. My name is Justus Nyangaya. I'm a commissioner. I will be giving you this afternoon's briefing with my colleague, Commissioner Irene Masit. I will be talking a little bit on the results transmission, but also the technology. We'll be talking about the use of electronic voter verification, but also identification systems. These have improved the process of identification of voter during elections in Kenya from 2013. This technology ensures that only those voters whose biometric and alphanumeric details captured in the register of voters are allowed to vote. The system ensures that a voter is allowed to vote only once on a polling day. Electronic voter identification system curbs impersonation and ensures that only those who registered to vote at a particular polling station are allowed to vote. Election results management framework. The Commission has an election results management framework that provides the workflow of results from the polling station to the constituency and national tallying center results in accordance with Election Act and regulation. The RTS does not capture neither transmit any personal identifiable data, and the Commission protects the voters' data in accordance with the Data Protection Act of 2019. The ERMF focuses on the following. One, how result forms are transmitted to the polling station and how the results are aggregated at the constituency. At the polling station, each KIMS tablet, KIMS is Kenya Integrated Electoral Management System tablet, shall be assigned to a unique polling station. Every presiding officer shall have a unique password to open the RTS system. The system shall only allow the presiding officer to open the RTS application after the close of voter identification, that's polling. The presiding officer shall be able to capture and transmit the image of the results from A series. The system, KIMS Kit, will display a checklist for the PO to confirm that the results from the A series has been duly filled. The PO confirms the following. One, the forms has an official stamp. Two, the presiding officer has signed the form. Three, the deputy presiding officer has signed the form and made it and makes it available to agents who then have to sign in the presence of presiding officer. The presiding officer shall be able to transmit the form 3As for the presidential election. In case any of the forms could not be transmitted due to network connectivity challenge, the status on the KIMS kits shall appear as pending. When the device manages to reestablish connectivity, the PO shall link on Transmit All button and all the forms will be transmitted. The Form A cannot be amended once the form image has been captured. At the constituency tallying center and national tallying center, the RTS system has a returning officer module that is used to generate Form B and C. Depending on their role, a returning officer can execute the activities summarized above. Monitor polling station transmission at constituency tallying center. Verify each Form A transmitted image against the physical Form A. Confirm that all Forms A for respective constituencies have been received and verified by each elective position. Preview and generate Form B per each elective position. The arrow can key in the results as per the physical delivered Form A. Upload the signed Form B to the public portal by each elective position. Contingency mechanisms to address unforeseen situations. Section 44 introduced the use of technology that encompasses biometric voter registration, electric voter identification, and electronic transmission of results. Section 44A further introduced complementary mechanisms for identification of voters by providing that the complementary mechanism that encompasses the following. A, the voter is at first instance identified biometrically at the polling station, and in the event that the voter cannot be identified using their fingerprint due to missing fingers, or the biometrics were not properly captured during registration, the presiding officer shall authorize use of a complementary mechanisms. And that is the complementary mechanism that maybe after this we are going to make a specific announcement to you through the chair of the commission. Where the KIMS kit malfunctions during identification or results transmission, the presiding officers are required to notify the returning officers of the incidences and request for a replacement kit, which is to be documented in the polling station diary as a quality control measure. It is only in the event of failure, of total failure of technology as prescribed in Regulation 26 of the Technology Regulations that the Commission, as guided by law, will be required to suspend or terminate the use of technology and notify the public and stakeholders of the suspension of the measures put in place. Now that is the end of this briefing on technology. I will ask for questions after my colleague has presented her bit on legal. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Yes, as you've heard, I'm Irene Masit, Commissioner. Now, I'll address topic on legal framework. And I'll start by saying that the Constitution of Kenya, Chapter 7, speaks to the general principles on electoral systems. It places an obligation on the Commission to deliver a free, fair, and credible election. The Constitution requires Parliament to enact legislation to conduct elections. It is for this reason that Elections Act 2011 was enacted. The Elections Act covers the entire spectrum of the conduct of elections. It is the principal law on elections and is supported by a draft of regulations, which includes technology regulation, further education regulation, all those regulations. The Election General Regulations 2012, in particular, gives the finer details of conduct of elections, replete with accountable statutory forms. The legal framework on elections provides recourse to dissatisfied candidates to challenge the decision of political parties before the internal party disputes mechanisms, and that of returning officers before disputes resolution committees on appeal to the High Court where they are not satisfied. Any Kenyan also has a right to challenge any election of a person through election petitions. All these have the effect of affirming up the credibility and the process of election. The operational and contingency planning of the election has been provided for through the electoral reform regime, which has sufficient legal prescriptions necessary for effective operational planning of elections. The Commission has developed a strategic plan and an elections operations plan guided by the legal and operational timelines, which has been using to plan for the elections. The Commission also has mechanisms for addressing complaints, disputes, and any violations of the law. These disputes are addressed through different committees of the Commission, namely one, the Dispute Resolution Committee, that hears complaints arising from the registration of candidates for elections. This committee, if you can recall, it handled 325 disputes from candidates who had not been registered for registration and cassettlement to file for elections. The other committee is the Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee that hears disputes on breach of Electoral Code of Conduct. This committee, as you are aware, was suspended, but still the Commission forwards any dispute or any issue in breach of Electoral Code of Conduct to ODPP for investigation and prosecution. The other committee is Leadership and Integrity Vetting Committee that hears complaints on breach of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. The operations of these committees are guided by rules of procedure on settlement of electoral disputes, which are cassetted rules. The rules of procedure provide flexibility in the hearing and determining of the complaints and disputes. The framework, however, does not insist on strict adherence to rules of evidence and the Criminal Procedure Code. The committee's workings ensure observance of the constitutional principles, e.g. rules of natural justice, fair administration action, and presumption of innocence. As currently, there are disputes ongoing on nominations by parties of their members to Parliament, to Senate, and to National Assembly. Those are like direct nominations or direct elections to those chambers of parliament. These disputes are being handled by political parties dispute tribunal in all the 8 regions. The disputes are ongoing, and we will be informing the media the outcome when they are finalized. Also, the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Commission will hear cases only touching on statutory framework, while the Political Parties Tribunal is handling disputes touching on members and the parties. So, finally, the Commission has established several measures to ensure that elections are free, fair, and credible, as I earlier said. One is to do with the results path in conformity with the constitutional and judicial guidance from the judgment of the court. As my colleague said, Chairman will be giving a brief on that of what happened today. So you'll be getting the brief on the same. 2, the secrecy of the ballot. That one is secured under Elections Act, and a framework for enforcement of the law is provided for under Elections Act 2016. The elections fund is also secured and is accountable, as you've heard from my colleague. The statutory results forms will be transmitted to National Center for further verification and declaration. And if anyone or any person attempts to interfere with the technology deployed to facilitate elections, such a person is liable to prosecution under the Elections Offences Act. And also under Section 30 of the IEBC Act, any person who supports the process of a free and fair election commits an offense, which offense makes such a person convicted and is barred from holding any public office in future. Thank you very much. We can invite questions. My colleague can take questions, and then we respond to whichever touches on our respective presentations.
Good afternoon. My name is David Kagina from K24. I have 3 questions. The first one is on the statutory result form 34A. You said before it's transmitted, the agents will have to sign. My question is, if they decline to sign all of them, is it still eligible for upload? And if so, what is the mechanism in place to ensure that they are not left out deliberately? Second question is on the register. Can you confirm to us that the register of voters on the KIMS kits is the same as the one on the manual register that will be at the polling station following the declaration by the court today? And my third question is, in the previous election, for voters who went to the wrong polling station with the KIMS kit containing the national register, it was easier for them to be directed to their specific polling stations. With the current register, we've been told that the KIMS kit is equipped with a specific register for that polling station. So my question is, how are you catering for those Kenyans who will miss their polling stations to ensure that they don't miss out on the right to vote? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take that. The third question is about those whose names may not necessarily be in the polling station they are going to. From yesterday, the names of people that are going to vote in a specific polling station has already been pasted at that station. So people have a week to confirm which particular station they will actually be voting in. So there is no way in which anybody will miss to vote. In the event that they still go into the wrong station, the KIMS kit will tell them that please rush to station A quickly and go and vote there before time is lapsed. The second question is about the register. We only have one register. The register that the political parties are buying now and the register that will have been uploaded in the KIMS kit and for the county, and the register that has been uploaded for the people that actually registered to vote in that particular station. And your first question is about statutory forms? Form 34A. Oh, what was it again?
You mentioned about agents signing.
Oh, yes, now, yes. Now, this will be signed, I assure you, because the process of counting 700 or less votes is so clear. And nobody will say, no, I cannot sign because I don't believe in the results. They are the people that are counting. Whose vote is this? Candidate A. Whose vote is this? Candidate B. Where do we place it? Here. Now, let's start counting. 1, 2, 3. You cannot deny that there are 100 if there are 10. So you will just sign when we say, okay, these are the results we have agreed on. You have seen the counting. This is what we are asking you to sign. Because nobody manufactures these votes at the station. So people will be willing to sign. In the event that they don't, it does not in any way render that particular count null and void. No, it will not. But then they will indicate why they didn't sign. And that the law requires that the PO records that. I hope that is satisfactory. Yes, sir. I saw your hand.
Can I add something?
Yes, yes, please.
Let me add something on the register. If one doesn't find their details, if you can recall, we have now call center or information center somewhere down there with toll-free numbers where the public can call to inquire. And those are toll-free numbers. There is 1543 and 1544. Still, the earlier way of verification, keying in your, doing an SMS, using your ID or valid passport you use to register, and you put the ID, say # 70,000 and call. It will bring your details. So those other mechanisms are still available. And another third one is that the register is out, and it is available for anyone who wants at nominal fee. So there are various ways where one can know whether the name is there or not. And one commission added, at the polling station outside, it's there from yesterday.
Yeah, from yesterday.
So people can check. If you're not there, you call, and you can be assisted. And also on, I think that is it.
Okay. Yes, continue, sir.
Yes, I'm Colin Samudo from the Daily Nation. You touched on the voter identification process, and we've had a ruling today. How does the ruling interfere, if any, with that voter identification process?
Okay.
Just in addition to what he's asked, my name is Brenda from Citizen. In light of that same court ruling today, what happens to a voter whose details cannot be completely captured through the team's identification and verification system that you have put in place, and they are at the polling station?
That is at the polling station? On polling day? Okay. David, I just said earlier that in light of the ruling, the High Court ruling today, we have a detailed a statement that we want to make on that. And so if you can hold your horse, the chairman will possibly be coming here in a short time to make that ruling. That statement. We have, as a commission, sat down and looked at the judgment and the orders. And so that's really what we want to share with you. But obviously, we obey court orders. That's what I will say on that matter. Brenda, you remember about 2 months ago, we actually were doing voter verification. And we asked Kenyans to go to their SMS platforms, email or whatever, website, to try to find out if they are in the register. Because we know that in the process of registration, some mistakes may have occurred. And within those 2 months, we were asking Kenyans to make sure that the details that had been captured during voter registration were still correct. We did make lots of correction. But right now, when Kenyans now see that voting is a reality and we are almost there, a number of them are coming and saying, how come I don't see my name and details? Sometimes you can't see it because you registered to vote with a passport. And now you are checking with your identity card. Then that one, it will actually disappear within the mix. But then a number of them may have been omitted, and yet they have a voter's card, which should have been corrected within the 2 months window. But if it was not corrected at that time, we have already printed our register and we have gazetted it. And possibly your name is not there if you did not correct it, which therefore means you are not going to vote. And that is very sad indeed.
My name is Nicholas Delay from CAS Media Group. My question is in relation to what you said. You said that returning officers' responsibility is to monitor and verify. A polling station has a maximum of 700 employees. With that, you would see if the polling station closes at 6 p.m., for instance, and after every other thing be done, accounting starts at around 8, that's assumption. With 700, we could be possibly say by the dawn of the same day, the presidential votes would have been counted. Now, I want to understand as to whether, or the work of the returning officer in transmission from the polling station to the county or constituency level, and the tallying of results. If the presiding officer from the polling station transmits to the national level, is it possible for them to say that it's easy to have the presidential results by Thursday, for instance? Because if they send to the same system that tabulates and tells us who, from all the polling stations, for instance, here at National Tallying Center, is it possible for that? Irrespective of the fact that the Constitution gives you 7 days to allow the results.
Thank you very much. Let's leave it. What the law gives us is 7 days. And we will announce results within 7 days. Within 7 days means that it can even be on the 4th day or the 3rd day. As at this time, we really don't know because we cannot anticipate the speed with which the various ROs concludes the counting and the tallying. Some of the centers or constituencies have over 2,000 stations. Some have less. And the Form B is tallied at the constituency. And we want to see Form B taken to the National Tallying Center with Form A, so that the presidential returning officer can verify and his team that the B that had been tallied matches the results that came from A, because A is the principal and the primary result. And so that verification has to be done, and it will not be done together. It will be as they come. And when they come, is different based on when they complete the counting and the tallying. So I will still plead and urge you and plead with you that let us take a little time to be sure that the votes that had been counted have counted. Yes, Rawlings.
Okay, my name is Rawlings from MediaMax. My question is, during the simulation exercise for the election transmission, we observed that it didn't go beyond 90% effectiveness. I don't know what's your projection as the Commission, given that Tuesday is just around the corner. What's your projection for the results transmission system? And then the second question is, you say that right now the register has been pinned at the various polling stations, and given that there are some places where the weather is not very friendly, I don't know if they are defaced or something like that. What happens with the Commission still reprint before that Tuesday? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. You're very kind, giving us 90% on the last simulation. Yes, it was about that. But in the real sense, it was 100%. Because 12 stations were not did not come through, because the fiber optic had been interfered with that same day, and in Mandera, not anywhere else. All the other stations actually came through, but in Mandera it didn't come through, because on that same day, when we were doing simulation, that's when we got the information that the 12 stations had been interfered with based on the fiber optics. So can we then just adjust it to 100%? Yes. Yes. I think they will all be very careful and treat that piece of paper with a lot of care and dignity, that anybody who walks into that center can actually access it. People also respect things like those, and I hope that it will not be defaced. But we have other areas and other ways and avenues of verifying these names. My colleague has already said one way of doing this. We have lots of young people in our call center that will also possibly give you that information.
Do you have a contingency measure for instances like the Mandela one, come Tuesday?
Yes, I noticed that you are still holding the microphone. Okay. Yes, we do. Yesterday we had a very successful meeting with providers of network like the Safaricom, Airtel, and Telcom. First, the main factor around fiber cut is reconstruction or construction. They will stop doing anything that might interfere with fiber optics. Secondly, it is about security. People just want to destroy and damage public infrastructure. The security is a lot, and will ensure that we have very, very minimal destruction. Yeah. Yes, the lady in red.
My name is Sarah from IEBC.
Sarah.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
I wanted to find out what is done now and what is left in terms of operations. What do you have in place and what are you still waiting for?
Yes, right now we have done almost everything except transferring ballot papers to the various constituencies and counties. By 6th, actually I need to revise that because that is what we were saying previously. But then some of the court cases came a bit too late in the day. And so now some ballot papers have not arrived, and they will arrive tomorrow. And that now makes us a bit jittery, that when they arrive tomorrow, we have to fast track those and take them to their various stations. And I think by Sunday latest, they will be there, because now fast tracking them will now mean we take fixed wing aeroplanes or helicopters. And we will make sure that everything is in place by Sunday. And if, Sarah, if you ask me that again on Sunday, I will confirm that we have done everything possible. Yeah, just one
Sarah,
moment.
let me add something on that. Presidential, all of them have arrived. The ones which Commissioner mentioned is where we had court cases. And these are around 10 areas, and mainly to do with petitions which were in court. We have names here. We'll give Purity for those areas, and then she can share with you, because if I read, we'll take a lot of time.
I wanted to find out when you're still there.
Yes.
How are the cases that are still being, which are going through now or they're being ruled now, how are they affecting your preparedness?
Like some of these I mentioned, some, if we, as we said earlier, we obey court orders. These ones came earlier. Some were being removed, some were being added, and mainly it's to do with MCAs, maturity, which we've complied with that court order because printing was still ongoing. But anything which comes now, close to election, we have to sit as a commission, and give a way forward, whether to suspend or to see what is possibly practical. But these are the ones which have been cleared by court, and we've complied with court orders. Some we are removing some names, and some we were adding as per the court order. And those names we'll share with you through our media team. Thank you.
Okay, I'll allow for more engagement because we were late, so we want to make up for that. But as far as the court orders are concerned, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that it is rather disruptive. Because right now we are training our own polling staffs on a line that we had agreed on. And now when something comes up and takes away or adds, we have to regroup and train our people again. And this really is not the way that we were hoping some of these things would go. Brenda, I see you have a microphone.
My question is a follow-up to what Sarah has asked. And you have mentioned that, if I heard correctly, that ballot papers have not yet been dispatched. I just need clarification because earlier in other briefings you had said you had already started dispatching strategic materials to the various constituencies. So what kind of strategic materials have already been dispatched? And secondly, just again for clarification, you had told us that in case of a death of a candidate, elections in that particular affected areas would be postponed. In some areas, these instances have happened, and the candidates there say they have not been informed of whether formally that particular elected position will be still participating in the election. So maybe just clarification whether you have informed these areas that this particular election will not be happening because of the death, and just what kind of material is already at the constituency levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to say the materials which have gone to the ground are more than 90%. In fact, it is all the non-strategic have been delivered. It's only strategic, like now ballot, the way you had. There are some we are waiting. But all of them, most of them have arrived, including the presidential, which we say they are all now in the country. So we'll be able to brief maybe Saturday or Sunday when everything is on the ground. As for an area where a candidate has passed on, it's a procedure in the law which requires cassettement to postpone that election. And it has been done. Those areas can provide for you through also our media team. We do cassettement. So maybe they've not seen, but if they've not reached, I believe it's been communicated. And as you heard, our staff now are very busy training the clerks on the ground. But we'll still communicate if it has not reached those areas. But cassette notice has been done. Maybe two more or one more, and then we close.
Yes, there.
Yes, please. We can have that one, and then we call it a day.
Thank you. My name is Mike from TV47. Swali langu moja tu kuhusu usalama.
Kuhusu?
Usalama.
Usalama.
Pale kwenye vituo. Inasemekana kwamba watakuwepo na maafisa wawili wa polisi ambao watakuwa wanafanya kuweka usalama pale kwenye vituo. Watu wengine labda wapiga kura wanaweza kuwa wako wrong zaidi. Je, hawa maafisa wawili watatosha kuhakikisha kwamba pana usalama wa kutosha? Na kumekuwepo na tetesi kwamba kumekuwepo na ongezeko ama umeongeza maafisa wengine wa kijeshi ambao watasaidia hawa maafisa wa usalama. Je, ni ukweli ama kuna kwenda aje?
Asante sana kwa hiyo swali. Ningependa kuchifu hivi. Kuna security arrangements yenye tumefanya kati ya IEBC na security team. Wale wawili uliowasema hawa ni wa polling station. Na unajua tuko na 46,200 29 polling stations. So you say times 2. So hizo ni wenye wako kwa polling station. Lakini pia kutakuwa na security beyond polling station. General yetu ni for IPC, our area is until where it is marked. But outside there'll be also other general security kuangalia usalama. Ndio tunahimiza wa Kenya, ukisha pika kura enda nyumbani. Pika kura yako uende nyumbani. Watu wakipika kura na wakae tu hapo karibu, waweke groups, waende kwa masenta, sio mzuri kwa sababu watakuwa wanaweza changia maneno ya hiyo usalama. So tunaomba wa Kenya, pika kura na uende wapi? Nyumbani. Lakini hiyo security arrangements tumefanya na concerned agencies na kila kitu iko sawa kwa ground. Vile